the arrogance of the second Democratic Party. So Biden doesn't decide to run for re-election. You grease the skid so he doesn't have to go through a primary. June 27th, he shows up and he embarrasses himself. And it positions naturally for the Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris, to ultimately ascend and become the Democratic nominee. But the last time we saw her in a primary, she couldn't make it to Iowa. Did you really, really think that was going to work? And then here's what you did. Did you discuss the economy enough? No. You could have discussed the border because unlike Obama, who was quote unquote the deporter in chiefs, according to the Republicans, because he deported more immigrants than Trump did.
According to not just Republicans, but Democrats. There were Democrats who called him that.
He deported more immigrants than Trump, which means he just didn't talk about it, but he did it. Biden walks into office and day one, you sign an executive order that opens the border and you let more than 12 million immigrants cross the border illegally and you don't think that's going to be a problem? You knew that the governors DeSantis and in Florida, Abbott in Texas and others were going to sit up there and attack sanctuary cities by busing these immigrants to your city since you had no problem with it. You were ill prepared to deal with it, okay? All of this stuff was going on. And I'm looking at it and I'm saying, so your plan for this election was to come to women and say, forget the economy, forget immigration. Roe v. Wade was overturned. It's now a states' right issue as opposed to a federal issue. You thought that was going to be enough? You thought it was going to be enough for you to look at black men and say to black men, you're misogynistic and chauvinistic, and that's the reason why you're not voting for Kamala Harris? You thought it was going to be enough for the Latinos to bring up immigration when you're not paying attention enough that the Cubans think different than the Dominicans, and the Cubans think different than the Colombians, and they think different than the Venezuelans and the Guatemalans and the Puerto Ricans and the Mexicans, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of these Latinos in America want the borders closed. You didn't pay attention to that? You're from California. You were a district attorney here. You were a state attorney general here. You were a senator representing here. And you didn't know that the Latinos were going to say, yo, we don't like open borders? You didn't know that?
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at it and I'm saying all of these things are going on. All of these things are going on. And your argument essentially was, you didn't say it, but this is essentially your argument. It's her turn. It's her turn. No, the Republicans don't play that. They say, hell with all of that, whose turn it is. We want him. Who do the Democrats want? If you ask them today, they still don't know. They said Kamala because it was too late to say anybody else. But you didn't know who they would say if there was a primary.
And also because the Democratic Party is ideologically captured by identity politics. Hey everyone, I'm on Substack now. Check it out and subscribe now at billmaher.substack.com. What could be simpler than that? My name, then .substack.com.